So this is Dr. Sib in Cincinnati, Ohio with Kristin Kitchen. Kristin owns a marvelous bed and breakfast. It's called 6 Acres. And the reason I'm speaking with her is apparently this house is a part of the Underground Railroad. Kristin, tell me about that.
Well, this house was built in the 1850s by abolitionist Zebulon Strong. We can tell that it was built between 1850 and 1860 because we can see it on a plot map, but our courthouse records burned down, so we don't know its exact date of when it was born, of when it was created. Zebulon was an abolitionist. They were Quakers from Pennsylvania that came here, he and his wife, and they brought their abolitionist ties to this house and to the community. There's actually a church at the top of the hill, Grace Episcopal Church, if you get a chance to see that. That's also the church that they built. It was a Quaker church, and now it's an Episcopal church. So,
when you realized this, what was your reaction?
well, I actually came to this house when I was in high school. We had our high school graduation party here. The family had owned it. There was a Schaefer family who had owned it since the 20s. And his mother told me the history of the house and that it was part of the Underground Railroad. And so I just hung on to that story till I became a big girl. In the interim, Mrs. Schaefer passed away and the house fell to ruin. So the house was actually condemned when I purchased it. But I joined a different church in our neighborhood, and I would drive past it on Sundays and just see it and get all teary-eyed. And I was like, I got to do something. So one day I took a cordless drill with me to church and crawled through one of the back windows, and I guess the ancestors just started having a conversation with me, and I just knew at that moment that I was going to restore the house. So,
talk about this house.
It's magic. It is the most peaceful, amazing home. To have the opportunity to work in a place that was actually used as a safe house for people on their weary journeys, and to be able to bring that use back to life and to be able to comfort people and have people be able to spend the night here. I feel like the house has actually made its purpose, and I'm able to help it fulfill its destiny. This is probably what it was created to do in the first place. So to be able to have people from all over come and lay down and rest their heads and feel that same peace is really just the best thing that I could do.
Describe the network of the Underground as you understand it in this part.
Well, Ohio has a strong Underground Railroad history because we are the first state, first free state from Kentucky. If there's that imaginary Mason-Dixon line that kind of flows through everywhere, then the first state that you came to was Ohio. However, because we're right on the border, Cincinnati has a very strong slavery past. So the slaves just came right over the river and worked and then went back because who told them that they were free? And so to make this journey to cross over this river was amazing, but obviously we were not free when we got here. African Americans in America that made it to Ohio, even just to stay in Cincinnati, you had to have a $500 bond on your head just to be able to stay here. So the Underground Railroad tour, the passage is very strong in Ohio because we had to keep going north, obviously, in order to get somewhere that we were safer. So Cincinnati has several houses that were actually part of the Underground Railroad and very actively used because, you know, once you crossed over, then the bounty hunters were coming into the north, and the families that made that choice to risk and harbor enslaved Africans are really quite brave because you threatened to be, you know, were threatened to lose everything if you were found out. So we were on our way to Canada. So
to the best of your knowledge, how did the Strong house fit into the network? You were talking about other houses in the immediate area that were used also.
Well, on the other side, this house sits on 6 acres of land, but originally this the Strong family owned about 50 acres on this side of Hamilton Avenue. But our house butts up to a creek that actually was, the slaves just continued to follow that waterway on up to the north. So this house, noted and documented in the Ohio Historical Library, that Zebulon would take his wagon and go down to the creek and get the slaves that were walking up and bring them to the house and take care of them and then continue to take them north.
Talk about the house. Were you able to find places where you think the slaves actually hid?
Yes, we're actually going to go on a tour today and see the actual spot where the enslaved Africans were hidden.
This is mind-boggling.
It's really a wonderful, wonderful place. Wonderful place.